Hello, my name is Tim Nies, and I'm an attorney practicing in defense-based act law. I represent only the claimants or the workers. I don't represent the insurance companies. Briefly, my background, for many years I was an insurance company attorney. Probably about 13 years ago, I came over to the good side, I call it, representing those who have sustained injuries. Prior to that, I was a Ranger with the 3rd Ranger Battalion in Fort Benning, Georgia. I want to talk today with you about mediations in Defense-Based Act cases, which are used to settle Defense-Based Act claims. Not many cases settle prior to a mediation. Mediation is a process where all the parties come together to the table, although the table these days are by Zoom because of the COVID pandemic. But essentially there's a mediator, which is a neutral party whose sole job is to settle the case. It is not to be fair to either side. This is why the insurance company has their lawyer. That's why injured contractors have lawyers like me to make sure it's fair. But the mediator's job, and a good mediator, settles the case. There are mediators I've used before once or twice, and I didn't feel they were giving a lot of effort to settling the case, meaning pushing both sides, and they gave up too early. In my opinion, that I don't use them anymore. So essentially, this mediation these days is by Zoom. I meet with my clients in person the day before. I'm there at the mediation, and I have, for Zoom, I have like a wide angle camera, so it fit us both. We don't have to be sitting right next to each other. It's not like we're on a camera phone or on a little camera on a laptop. So I try to make it as comfortable as possible. The night before, I'm meeting with clients, sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours, whatever it takes to make them feel comfortable, whatever it takes to make them understand the mediation process, whatever it takes to understand some of the tactics that are used at mediation. I prepare them for sometimes initial offers from the other side that are very disappointing. I make sure they're well prepared. A lot of times, this may be the first or second time that I'm meeting this injured worker in person, although by the time the mediations come around, we've probably talked 50 hours, 40 hours. We talk all the time on the phone and by Zoom. So the way mediations work in the COVID pandemic is I'm with my client on the computer. The mediator is wherever the mediator's from. There's one in Jacksonville, and there's another one lives in Texas, and there's another one in Louisiana, there's one in Chicago. Wherever they live, they're logged in there. An adjuster could be anywhere. It depends whatever insurance company there are. A lot of them work from home now too, so the adjuster will be on video. The adjuster, the insurance company and adjuster will have a lawyer representing them. They'll be on Zoom video. The mediator will be on Zoom video, and I'll be with my client in person because there are many things we need to discuss during mediation, and it's hard for me to do that without being face-to-face, and it's hard on my clients too. I was trying to count it up the other day. It could be 800 mediations, 700. I'm not really sure. It's a lot over my now 20-year career. Same thing with the mediator. Some of these mediators, if you count when some of them were lawyers before, if you count mediations in their 30 years in practice, and then mediations to media, they've done thousands. Insurance company lawyers the same way. They've been to as many as I have, some a little less, some a little more. So everyone is experienced with mediations other than one person, the injured worker. So that's why I need to meet with them the day before and be with them during the mediation. What goes on in the mediation? The way it used to be, it'd be a hotel close to where the injured worker lives, and there'd be 2 rooms the mediator would set up. Small conference rooms typically. And the mediator would jump back and forth between each room trying to resolve the case. Now it's by Zoom, and the mediator jumps back and forth in these Zoom breakout rooms trying to resolve the case. The beginning of the mediation starts off with an opening from the mediator describing what the process is, what his role is, the confidentiality aspects of a mediation, which no one can really talk about what went on in mediation outside mediation. It can't be used in court later, what is said at mediation. So this mediator gives his opening. I, as an injured workers attorney, I give an opening. Sometimes they last 5 minutes, sometimes they last 30 minutes. In every case that I do, the insurance company already has a very detailed demand. Like, a demand is not just pay me X amount of dollars. You have to describe how you're getting to that number and come up with these calculations. I give a confidential mediation statement to the mediator, typically a week before the mediation, so that mediator has time to review all the facts and my summary of the medicals and my calculations for a settlement, the background of my client. So I don't need to start fresh. It's not like a trial where a mediator is like a judge and a judge is hearing it all for the first time at a trial, or where the jury is hearing it for the first time at a jury trial. So I'm giving the mediator facts and our position ahead of time. After this opening, a lot of times they're together. The insurance company, it gets very short opening, very short. Normally it's, we're here to settle the case and we have some disagreements with the injured worker, but we're hopeful we can get this all resolved today. That's typically what is said on the other side. The mediator then goes back and forth between these Zoom rooms. It might last 3 hours. That's probably the shortest amount that I've ever been to mediation where the case resolved. I've been to ones that lasted 2 days. I'd say typically it's 4 or 5 hours at a mediation. You're able to take breaks during this time. And I always recommend to my client before the mediation, eat breakfast at home because we might work right through lunch, maybe work with different time zones. One might be in Eastern time and in a specific time, so a lot of times they don't take a break for lunch. So suggestion, eat something in the morning. This goes on for several hours, back and forth with the numbers. The lawyers, me, and the other side for the insurance company are feeding information back to the mediator. Or tell the other side this. Remind the insurance company that my client will require this spinal fusion in the future, and here's a medical record discussing that. There's lots of information that's fed back and forth. This goes on for several hours. During that time, they might get to a part where there's a bracket. The insurance company will come up to this much if we come down to this much, and there's a range, and we try to settle the case in that range. That's used in many mediations. Also, there's specialists that are brought in who prepare annuities. So they might take $50,000 of your settlement or $100,000. There's no set number. I normally tell my clients, just listen to what they have to say and keep an open mind. And it's really up to the client if they want to annuitize any part of their settlement. So say if it's $100,000 of whatever big chunk of a mediation it is, that money is kept in an institution. The injured worker